Okay, food crops are replaced by cash crops. You know what's food crop? You know what is cash crop? Food crop, rice, wheat, these are all food crops. What are all cash crops? Only to get cash, to get money. And these are all called cash crops. And people are replacing food crops by cash crops to get money, right? And love and innocence by greed. Love and innocence of the village life is replaced by greed. People want to have easy money. They are not ready to work hard. Okay? And that mentality is slowly being created here in Kerala, and food crop and cash crop replaced, love, innocence replaced by greed, right? He meets his father and their faces express this paradox, and he goes, and at first he meets his father and their faces, and what is our poet's facial expression? Dejected, disappointed, dispirited, and that gloomy touch is there in his face. But father, happy, contented, pleased, because he gets a lot of money out of rubber sheets, and all those paddy cultivation is replaced by rubber plantations. Okay, and this difference you can see in their facial expressions. Their faces express this paradox. And his father belongs to the older generation, and he wants to have money, and he is a little bit greedy, and his son and the little scholar and the PhD holder, he is the representative of the new generation. He wants to have those days back into his village. The young, a traditionalist, and the old, a modernist. Here there is another paradox. Normally, young people are modernists, right? Here, this young man is a traditionalist. He wants to preserve and protect the indigenous agriculture. He wants to go back into those beautiful memories of old days where he felt safe and secure, and he feels that I am Keralite. And here, his father, he has become a modernist, and he discarded all this kind of profitless paddy cultivation, and only fools turn to rice farming nowadays. Those were his words, right? And the obvious pride reflected in father's tone and the adaptability to changing times denote better money, which is not earned with sweat of the brow. And the obvious pride reflected, and I told you, father's face reflected that pride, that I am okay now because I am not tensed. I get money so easily by selling these rubber sheets, and that pride is quite evident in his facial expression, and that pride is reflected in father's tone. Okay, and the adaptability, and he is ready to change, and he is adaptable to any changing situation, and that denote better money. He wants to have better money, which is not earned by sweat of the brow. Earlier, he was there in the paddy field and working hard. Always he got his income by sweat of the brow, by toil, right? And the government gives rice to those who don't have paddy fields. It is a line from the poem. Government gives rice to those who don't have paddy fields is connotative of petty electoral politics. appeasing voters and making them lazy. The government is giving rice for 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 3 rupees, and the people are becoming more and more lazy. Why should I have this paddy cultivation? I'm getting 1 rupee, 2 rupee rice from ration shop. And the political leaders are trying to appease, to please the voters, to have all the votes into his account. There is an indication, connotation of the petty electoral politics here. They want to appease the voters by making them lazy. Actually, in my opinion, don't give rice for 1 or 2 rupees. They don't know the value of hard work if it is given free for the people, right? It is not good for Kerala. Another striking satiric twist is that his little brother brings the same wheat from ration shop from which he had been trying to free himself for the last 4 years, and that part you know. And he had been having wheat for the last 4 years when he was doing his research in Delhi, and he is bored with the chapati eating, and he wants to have that meal of adhikira rice. But when he came back home, his little brother brings a sack full of wheat, and when he tips over something, he fell down on the yard, and that wheat scattered all over the yard. And there is another twist. The poem brings at the end a penchant sarcasm in the ending note is so enticing that we put the last wreath on the self-reliance and food security of Kerala, right? And there is at the end there is a sarcasm, piercing sarcasm in the ending 2 lines. It is interesting and enticing, alluring and attractive. Sarcasm, satire is used by the poet. What is that sarcasm? We put the last wreath on the self-reliance and food security of Kerala. Food security of Kerala and the self-reliance of Kerala is under threat. You know why? Because we don't produce anything here. We are putting last wreath on the self-sufficiency or self-dependency or self-reliance and food security of Kerala. CM is off like an arrow. CM is flying to Delhi like an arrow to the center, to central cabinet ministers and prime minister for what? To clamor, to request, to plead, to beg for more grains, please. Mr. Modi, please give us some more grains and husk. Interesting. What is his PhD in? How to make toys with husk. How this husk is available? If there is paddy cultivation in Kerala, there is no husk. Okay, and the author is compelled to have some rice and its husk from center to the poet, otherwise his PhD will be in vain, right? And not only rice, the chief minister should ask, but some husk too, to make his toys with it. Otherwise his PhD will be in danger, right? And otherwise his doctoral degree would be irrelevant. It is there in the note. Last paragraph, to cut size, to shorten, to be precise, a sea change from humanitarian to materialism. Humanitarianism to materialism has taken root in the mindset of Malayalis. Humanitarianism, what is humanitarianism? To be a complete human, to be loving, caring, compassionate, sympathetic, empathetic. All these human values, qualities have been replaced by materialism. How to get money easily, how to be rich within days. These are all the thoughts we infuse on our head. And this mentality has taken deep root in the mindset of Malayalis and the very identity. What is our Kerala's identity? God's own country is under threat. And that identity, that name and fame of Kerala is under threat. You know why? Since because our own rice, coconut, and our own rice. How do you identify Kerala? By looking at two things. One is rice. Wherever you travel through Kerala, as I told you earlier, huge stretches of land is there sprawling with paddy cultivation. Now everything disappeared. In a broader sense, our identity, rice, and our face, coconut. And Kerala, that name itself is derived from coconut tree, Kerala, Keram, Kerathinte Nadu. And that identity, that face of Kerala is under threat. And in a broader sense, much cherished values of Renaissance, and Kerala has been cherishing, bearing sweet memories of Renaissance led by great social reformers like Sri Narayana Guru, Vakkam Maulavi, and all these values that we had been cherishing for years. And these values of Renaissance, Kerala Renaissance, is slowly receding, going back into the Arabian Sea. Arabian Sea is very close to us, and those values are also going back into the Arabian Sea, and our Kerala itself is disappearing from the scene and the face of Kerala. Okay, and these are all my ideas. Okay, you can agree or disagree, and the poet might not have had this much depth for the poem, and for A+ note I have to give you some more ideas. That's why I incorporated these ideas into your note, and I'm sure if you write all these points, 80 out of 80 is 100% sure. 80 out of 80, 100% sure. Follow these notes and use those expressions and ideas done by heart. Okay, thank you.